Hello everyone! In this video, you will learn how to create a timeline using an external website called TimelineJS, which requires logging into your Google account. TimelineJS is an open source tool that creates interactive timelines by using a Google spreadsheet. In the search bar of your browser, type in timeline.knightlab.com and press the Enter key. Click the green button in the center of your screen that says Make a Timeline, and it will automatically take you to the first step of making your timeline, which is to retrieve the spreadsheet where you will input your timeline data. Once the website scrolls down, you will see a blue button that says Get the Spreadsheet Template, located at the center of your screen. Click that blue button and a new tab will open at the top of your browser. Click Make a Copy. Once you make a copy, the timeline spreadsheet will be automatically saved to your Google Drive. Find the spreadsheet in your drive and double-click to open the file. Once opened, you will see a template of the timeline. The first 4 columns in the spreadsheet, A through D, is the start date of your timeline entry. You do not have to include every detail. You can either insert the year, or you can be as specific as possible by including all the date values. The order of the dates does not matter because it will automatically put them into chronological order once the file is in the timeline. In columns E through H, you have the option to include the end dates of the event. The same standards of the start date also apply to the end date. If your event does not have an end date, for instance, if the event is still happening, you can leave columns E through H blank. If you require more flexibility about how dates are shown in the slide, then you can use column I, the display date. The display date is helpful when the specific date of the event is unknown. However, you still need to insert information in at least one of the columns from A to H, so the timeline knows where to display it relative to other events. Do note that the data posted in column I will override columns A through H, as the display date refers to the date displayed on the interactive timeline that will be created from this spreadsheet. Columns J and K represent the headline and text portion of the timeline. The headline acts as a section of the timeline so that your audience will know what you're referring to in the story. The text is where you discuss the events. You do not need to include text nor a headline if it does not suit your timeline aesthetic or content display, but they can be informative fields for your user. So it's helpful to think through how the timeline aesthetics and content display serve your purpose of your timeline. Columns L through O allow you to add multimedia content to your event. Under the media column L, enter a URL to the media that you wish to use. You can use an image, online video files from YouTube, Vimeo, and Dailymotion, MP4 video files, MP3, M4A, and WAV audio files, SoundCloud, Spotify, Twitter, Google Maps, Instagram, Flickr, IMGUR, Document Cloud, Wikipedia, embedded iframe content, block quotes, and Wistia. The media credit for column M is where you credit the company, producer, or site where the media is drawn from. In most cases, it's good practice to give media credit for the content you are using. For column N, you can type a caption that summarizes the video. There are markers in the timeline to represent the type of media that you are using. If you want, you can show a thumbnail of the media there, instead by using a URL of the image in column O. However, the image file should not be larger than 32 pixels by 32 pixels. Column P is type. Most of the time this will be blank. Clicking on the arrow at the bottom right corner of the cell will display title and era. Title will cause the row to become a title slide and show it as the first event. Note that title slides will not appear in the navigation component of the timeline, and that you should only have one row with the title in the column. Era will use the row to label a span of time in the axis area of the timeline's navigation component. Eras should have a start date and an end date, and a headline. Also note, the event must have occurred for at least 1 year to be considered an era. Column Q is a group. Think of it as an organizational tool. Events categorized with the same group will be placed in the same row or adjacent rows. TimelineJS will use any text you have written in the group column as a label and will be displayed in each slide. Note that creators cannot control the order of when the groups are shown in the navigation area and are based on the chronological order when they are used. If they are not in a group, they will appear last and after the groups. Lastly, if you would like to change the background to a different color or image, you can use column R. You can enter a hex color or a URL link in here. Hex colors can be found online from Google or here at www.w3schools.com/cssref/css_colors.asp. Because you made a copy of the spreadsheet, you have administrative rights to type into the document. Click on any cell of the spreadsheet to fill out the spreadsheet. As long as you see a blue outline on the box, you will know which cell you are typing into. If you need to include more events in your timeline, type in the number of rows you need in the box located at the bottom left of your screen and click Add. This will automatically generate more rows and you may continue where you left off. When you're satisfied with your timeline, click File at the top left side of your screen, and if necessary, scroll down until you see Publish to the web. Clicking it will cause a window to pop up on your screen. Now click Entire Document and change it to OD1. Click the green Publish button, and if it asks, "Are you sure?" click OK. Ignore the new window that pops up and close it by clicking the gray X at the top right corner. Copy and paste the URL from the search bar of your browser by either Control-C if you're on a Windows operating system or Command-key-C if you're on a Mac operating system. Now return to the home page of TimelineJS. Scroll down until you see the number 3 on the left-hand side of the screen. Use Control-V or Command-key-V to paste the link where it says Google Spreadsheets URL. This will generate 2 different links that you can use to put the timeline into your story. Scroll down to number 4 and copy either link. Go to your StoryMap tab, hover your mouse over the left side of the screen and click the gray plus button. Click Embed and paste your link into the empty field. Click the Add button on the bottom right corner and your timeline will now appear in your story. To delete a timeline, go back to your story and hover your mouse over the timeline. A toolbar will appear at the center and top of the timeline. Click the trash can icon to delete it. Please keep in mind that if you want to make any changes to your timeline, you must resubmit the revised spreadsheet to the TimelineJS tool. To do so, copy and paste your link from your updated Google spreadsheet again and submit it to the number 3 field on the TimelineJS tool homepage. And then copy and paste the URL generated in field number 4 to your story map, or wherever you wish to embed your timeline. Note, you can also click the preview button before uploading the timeline into your story. And that's it. Now you know how to create and import a timeline. Be sure to check out our other videos.